and then we start with the music. Jay, over to you.
But I can't. I'm trying to put the live streaming on Facebook, but it is asking me on like an account.
Monica, why don't you make Gary Pai the host? He'll.
You make me the host. I'll go live.
Yeah, I don't know who means.
Do you want me to do that?
No worries.
No.
All right, Jimmy, so I'll just start the program.
Janmajay, please wait. Let me go live first. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monica, can you make Gary the host? Yeah.
I'm the host.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll just
good.
make Monica a co-host. And okay.
Me also a co-host.
Yeah, just a second. I'm just setting up this live stream. Okay, so 12 days of action, day one. To your page. The page is called Jai Jagat.
So we don't have an audience, no? So yeah, hopefully.
We might have at least one audience. Revaji was asking, so.
Yes, maybe she will be there. Okay.
I'll just send her the link.
Okay, friends, we are live. Welcome to the 12 Days of Actions reporting. And this is our very first day. And I invite my dear friend Janmajay to please start the program with the musical interlude, and then we may go into the details of the program. Thank you very much, and Jai Jagat.
Thank you, Jai Jagat. We'll start with the promo and a song.
Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. For peace, let the souls come alive. For justice and joy come alive. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Be the call of love, let love be in all. Victory to the world and no one to be lost. Be the call of love, let love be in all. Victory to bar. Let caste be no bar. Let love be the need of our. Let the love for all be the bar. Winds of peace shall blow around. We shall all now sing along. Let the sun of love be strong. Let the night of hate be gone. Let the night of hate be gone. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. For peace, let the souls come alive. For justice and joy, come alive. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat. Sing along, Jai Jagat. Call along, Jai Jagat.
Okay, friends, welcome to this event reporting. Today is the first day of our 12 days of action. And now to take the program ahead, to sail you through the program, I invite my co-traveler in this journey, Monica. Monica, over to you.
Many thanks, Gary. Yes, of course. Welcome, everyone, to this 12 days of action. This is just the beginning. And we're very, very happy to have with us Jill Harris and Rayaji, who has led us, all of us in the world, to this journey for peace and justice. And I will give the space to Jill to launch this campaign that we have worked on with a lot of effort and with a lot of emotion also and hope, because we know that this is just the first step of a long journey. And welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Thank you. Jai Jagat, everybody. This has been a journey that started in October 2019 at the time of celebration of Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birthday, with a walk that was to go from New Delhi, India to Geneva. And what is interesting was that for 6 months, 5.5 months, 50 people from 20 countries got together and walked through 6 countries, including India, Pakistan, Nepal, United Arab Emirates, Iran, and Armenia. And all of these people joined in Armenia en route to Geneva in March of 2020, when unfortunately the pandemic, the COVID pandemic struck, and we had to abort this very, very important march. As a result of our French friends who went back to France, all 50 people went back to their home countries, but the French delegation went back, and just prior to the end of the planned march, they marched into Geneva to have a meal together and to share with the United Nations some of the concerns that people had from various grassroots communities, mainly in India, with our Geneva UN, some UN officials. And there ended our 2019 and 2020 march. But in fact, people said that is not enough. We would like to continue this important effort. So 200 people got together and decided that this vision of Jai Jagat needed to be in the form of a campaign for the next 10 years, all the way to 2030, in order that we see change, both in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, but also in terms of climate, the climate crisis. So this campaign continued, and I'm very happy to say that this is the first major action after the pandemic started. It was an amazing effort to bring out of villages, out of people's spaces where they had been in lockdown for many months, to come together and to share a common Jai Jagat campaign. And we have started, this is the first day, this International Day of Peace, a very important day around the world for all of us to think and to act for peace and nonviolence. We will see the many activities around the world that have been going on this day. And as you can appreciate, we will see the activities of Asia and some parts of Europe and Africa, and our colleagues in Latin America, because they're just waking up in the morning, we'll see their 21st September activities tomorrow, when we broadcast at the same time tomorrow as we will for the next 10 days. So we are launching with you today 12 days of action and 12 days of educational activities to bring people closer to the vision of Jai Jagat. And as you know, Jai Jagat, victory to the world, or a world that includes everybody and all living things, that in this vision, one of the very important aspects is nonviolent economy. So we will be drawing attention to the nonviolent economy and what that means. And we're fortunate to have Rajgopal come and speak today on the nonviolent economy. But you know, on this day, we've encouraged people around the world to fast on this day. And the fasting is both for peace, but it's also for the realization of a nonviolent economy. And so we'll be thinking about how being in a little discomfort of fasting and being in a more meditative state is extremely important for the realization of a different kind of future that is based on nonviolence. So let me just introduce for you that in the next 12 days, every day we will be broadcasting the different activities and different events that are going on worldwide, as well as drawing attention to a particular theme. And today's theme, of course, is fasting, as I've mentioned. Tomorrow's theme is different. It will be around fossil fuels and not using fossil fuels for one day. That is, in any kind of movement, to walk, to bicycle, to use electric cars or electric vehicles, and not use any vehicles that are dependent on fossil fuels. On the 23rd, we will be encouraging people to plant a tree. On the 24th, the theme will be coming out for climate change as part of the climate strike for an alternative climate future, a better future. On the 25th, we will be looking at sharing a meal. On the 26th, we will be not using any multinational products. On the 27th, we'll be cleaning the environment and planting a garden. And so goes on till October 2nd, various activities which you will find in the Jai Jagat International website for your easy reference. We encourage all of you to take up activities either on the theme or local programs that you're involved with, and link them to the Jai Jagat so we can feel empowered in being together in these 12 days as a way to visualize a change in our future. So with that, I want to just mention that in India, we will be celebrating in these 12 days more than 100 yatras all over the country in different districts. Some pictures you're going to see a little later in this broadcast. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce Rajgopal Ji, who is the founder of Ekta and has been very, very important in the Jai Jagat campaign and visioning the Jai Jagat campaign itself. And to hear a little bit as how from his Gandhian, Gandhi's the heritage of Gandhi, why pediatra is important, why fasting is important, why nonviolent action is important today, and how Gandhi visualized a nonviolent economy. So without further ado, I'm going to request Rajgopal to speak, and I thank all of you for participating in these 12 days and making Jai Jagat, realizing Jai Jagat in your local communities and globally. Thank you very much, and Jai Jagat.
Okay, so thank you, Jill. This is a great day. I think the International Day of Peace, this is a great day, and I want to greet all of you on this day so that we have a peaceful future. So this day, hundreds of men and women are walking for peace. They are walking through villages and cities in different parts of India, different parts of the world, and all for achieving peace and a peaceful future. As you know, Padayatra is very, very important instrument. In India, we learned it from Mahatma Gandhi, because Mahatma Gandhi used Padayatra as a very, very powerful tool when he wanted to challenge the British regime. And then his disciple Vinoba Bhave took it, and he walked for 13 years across India for land. And that is how this land gift movement was introduced, and some 4.2 million acres of land came for the poor people. So Ekta Parishad was also using this instrument. We learned it from Gandhi and Vinoba, and we started using it. So in 2007, we had 25,000 people marching from the city of Gwalior to city of Delhi. And in 2012, we had 100,000 people marching, etc. So this is the most important participatory method. Nobody will say that I don't have the money, so I can't walk. You don't need any money to walk. You just get out of your house and start walking. So walking is the most inexpensive mobilization technique. And this is the most powerful participatory method where any number of people can walk. And many people who walked in 2007 are now grown-up people, and they still carry that inspiration, and they are social activists, and they are the peace promoters in many villages because they learned it when they were very, very early in their age. Now, tomorrow is the day when Mahatma Gandhi changed his clothes, in the sense, he decided that he saw poor people and he said, look, how can I have so much cloth on my body when so many millions of people don't have even enough to cover their body? Because he saw women drying one part of their sari cloth and then washing the other part. And so this was very, very painful scene for him to see. Many women have only one sari and they have to wash one portion and dry it and then wear it and wash the other portion. So he said, look, today onwards, I'm not going to use so much cloth. So the Gandhi that you see later on, the lion cloth Gandhi, was happening 100 years back tomorrow. See, on 22nd of September, he changed his cloth. And so that is 100 years. So many people are assembling in a city called Madurai to celebrate this and remember this. See, Gandhi said, renouncing is something more important than accumulating. Simplicity is more important than show off. So this is also an important day tomorrow for us to think of renunciation, think of simplicity, etc. See, there are many stories of Gandhi where he became very, very famous for his simplicity. His hut, it's like the former ambassador from America to India says, standing in front of Mahatma Gandhi's hut, I realized that you don't have to be in a big house to be great. It's like in this small hut lived the greatest person of the world. So only to say, tomorrow is also a day for us to celebrate simplicity. So the Padayatra is happening in 106 places, like Jill told. I am in Bihar, right? And I went to a place called Naubatpur, very close to the capital of Bihar, Patna. And there were 1,000 people, and 80% of them were women, coming from different villages to see all this Padayatra. And great enthusiasm, the slogan shouting and singing and dancing and all that for peace. And people were speaking about justice, because these are poor women without land, without enough land for house. So they were speaking about the need for justice, one after the other. They stood up to speak that unless there is justice, how can we have peace? So while speaking, there was somebody taking a pot around and they started contributing 10 rupees. And I'm told that today, the very poor people contributed some 2,000 rupees to carry this yatra forward, because when you walk through villages, you may need some money. So people are contributing. So it's all people's participation. They are physically there, they are financially there, they are making all the arrangements. So it was wonderful to see how the flag off ceremony in Naubatpur was organized. This evening, I was invited to the assembly where the leaders were sitting, the leaders, elected representatives, the deputy chief minister, the members of the assembly were speaking, sitting, and I was asked to speak about nonviolent economy. And I spoke about nonviolent mobilization, how people can be organized in a nonviolent way to mobilize, how government can be introduce a nonviolent governance system, how educational institution can introduce nonviolent education, and all that will lead to a nonviolent society. And it was greatly, greatly appreciated. And they thought if nonviolence has so much potential, people can use nonviolence, government can use nonviolence, institutions can use nonviolence, and all that put together, if the society can become a nonviolent society, why shouldn't we try it? So I could see this great enthusiasm, and the speaker of the assembly, the main person who is in charge of the entire decision-making process, assembly, said, please come one day to address all our elected representatives in Bihar so that they understand this subject and they take it forward in terms of making policies that will bring about peace in the state. So I was very, very impressed by this enthusiasm of elected people. Now, today is the day of fasting, and Jill spoke about it. Look, fasting is not to pressurize anybody. When I fast, I am doing it as a way to purify myself. We are not trying to put pressure on others by fasting. When Gandhi was fasting, he was not fasting to put pressure on British government. He was trying to say, look, I need to be purified. Probably there is something wrong in me. I am not good enough so that my issues are not understood. The way I speak is not understood because probably I am not pure enough to do that. So the instrument should be pure. If the message need to be listened, you know how much fasting Lord Buddha did before his message got received. So in the history we learned purifying oneself so that out of this purified mind, purified brain, purified body, you appeal, and your appeal is taken seriously because people know that this comes from a pure soul. So fasting is not a technique to put pressure on people and get things done, etc. But this is an inward journey where I am trying to look at myself and see how I can be a better person so that my message is taken seriously, is something which is behind fasting. So all those who fasted today must have created a vibrant atmosphere in this country, in the world, so that their message will be taken seriously by people, because the people in front of you also watching you, because you are not using it as a political technique, but this is used as a technique as a method to purify oneself. So this is also an opportunity. This is also a method to share the life of millions of people who are poor. You know, when you fast, you understand the level of poverty. You know, it's like, you know, when you walk through the whole day without food, when you understand some food is a pleasure. So it's also to share the life of millions of people. And this is how you appeal to the emotions of people who are making wrong decisions. The world in which we live today is so badly managed. And how do you appeal to them? You can't appeal to them by using pressure. You need to appeal to their emotion. You need to appeal to their intellect by self-suffering or self-purification process. So this is a very, very interesting, deep subject. If we understand fasting as an interesting method to appeal to the people who are oppressive, who are unjust, who are aggressive, then we will understand that this is a very interesting method. You know, to take a small example, when children fight in the house, mother will not eat. She will say, I quit my meal. And you see how children run around the mother and convince her that you should eat now, because that fasting as such a pressure, such an appeal on the children that they thought, no, we have made a mistake and we need to correct ourselves so that our mother will not suffer by not eating, etc. So this is a very, very interesting area. Now, 12 days of action will take us deeper into this subject. There are, like Jill said, there are various methods that we are going to use every day. And people have already started suggesting that by the end of this year, we should have a huge action. By 2024, we should have a huge action. 200,000 people should come, etc., etc. So people are getting inspired. They feel thousands of people marching every day through villages should result into a very large action for bigger change. So what are they asking? They say, look, this large action is for a non-violent economy. That means we people at the bottom, this is what we are also speaking to United Nations. People at the bottom should have control over land, forest, and water. The livelihood resources around which people live, we should have control over it. This should not be with multinational companies. Our land, our seed, our water, if everything is with multinational companies, what are we supposed to do? How are we going to have an economy that will sustain us? And we also need decision-making power. So control over natural resources, control over decision-making. This is what people are asking. So if we want to make SDGs successful, this need to be guaranteed. That if you want to remove poverty by 2030, if you want to address climate crisis, if you want to address violence, if you want to address inequality, all the 4 pillars about which we speak every day, if you want to achieve this, we need to have control over natural resources and decision-making. And this is non-violent economy for people, an economy that is manageable within our reach, an economy that will provide enough for our family, an economy that will protect the nature. This is the economy that is non-violent economy they want to hold. When this is practiced all over, this is going to be a global economy leading to global peace. So I want to thank everybody today for your participation wherever you are. You are in India, you are in Mexico, you are various parts of the world you are. So for your participation, I want to thank you. I want to thank all those who are working and also in various villages. So I hope that by day 12, all the work will culminate after 12 days, and we will come together to reflect on our experiences and see how we make a better world, a peaceful world. So I wish you all the best, and I hope on the last day we will come together again to reflect on what is our next plan of action. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, even to the core group that is running this program today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajaji, for this enlightenment. And friends, before we go deep into the program, I request Monica to come on board so we can run through you today. And then I'll be sharing with you the details of the events that have happened in India today, which is what Rajaji was speaking about. Over to you, Monica.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we will share now some of the highlights of today actions, and we have something on the Indian Padayatras, and we will be sharing some small images and maybe short clips to show what Rajaji just shared on the Indian marches, and then a few other things in South Asia, in Nepal and Philippines. So can we share the materials in India, from India?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Monica. So friends, I'm going to report to you on the marches that have been happening in India. But before that, I'll just give you a background of it, that the 12-day long foot march for justice and peace starts today on the 21st of September in India. And it is mainly a decentralized action in which foot marches are organized in 105 districts in India, and various actions will be also held across the globe. In India, this action was inaugurated by Rajaji, which is Rajgopal PV, with one-day fast in Patna, Bihar, This led to the start of various padyatras across India. And now I shall give you a small glimpse of what has been happening throughout the country. I start with Ashok Nagar in Madhya Pradesh, with Chanderi, known for its heritage. And this was the starting point for the Padyatra was at Chanderi, where about 50 constant foot marchers participated. This yatra started from Chanderi and ended at Ashok Nagar district collectorate. While marching, they sang the Jai Jagat song, which also motivated them to walk for justice and peace. In Damoh, Madhya Pradesh, another foot march for justice and peace started with Richkudi village in Tendukhera district. This yatra was flagged off by Nirbhay Singh ji, who gave out details about the decentralized action and how every day has a different theme. Various young leaders took the responsibility of organizing the foot march and spreading the message of peace through these yatras. In Telangana, the Godavari area, the yatra started in Godavari district of Telangana. Under the guidance of Yadav Raju, this yatra focused on spreading the message of justice and peace by providing shopkeepers and other vendors with flyers. The students from Scouts and Guides also joined them during this foot march. Now I bring you to Madhya Pradesh and specifically to Gwalior. In the series of the Justice and Peace foot marches being carried out by Ekta Parishad across the country, today the march led by 200 tribal women and men from Tikla village in Gwalior district was flagged off by the national president of Ekta Parishad, Mr. Ran Singh Parmar. He also explained how Mahatma Gandhi envisioned a society based on justice and peace and how these actions are happening across the globe. Going towards the east of India, which is in Orissa. So I talk about the Kalahandi area. Even heavy rains couldn't break the spirits of the Padyatris in the Kalahandi district, Orissa. The yatra started from Khelamunda village, which is an indigenous village. In this Padyatra, around 40 people participated. Due to heavy rain, the distance was shortened, yet their will to walk for justice and peace still stays intact. In Katni, Madhya Pradesh, a dozen workers of Ekta Parishad started their march for the justice and peace from Barwara, Katni district. This Padyatra was led by Mr. Ramkishore Chaudhary, Shushila Dikshit, and Goendra Sharma. They walked till Jagatpura in Umaria. Going to the extreme east of India, in Manipur, today on the 21st September 2021, on the International Peace Day, the foot march for justice and peace of Ekta Parishad Manipur was launched from the Thanga Chinka to Thanga boat harbor of Kanran village at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Adru Hoikap in Bishnupur district and in Imphal East district respectively. Ekta Parishad National Convener Shri Ramesh Sharma, State Coordinator Mr. Arimbam Rishikant Sharma, State Advocacy Coordinator Mamta Lukram, Women Wing Coordinator N. Vidyarani Devi of Ekta Parishad Manipur participated in the foot march. In Bihar, in Nabatpur, this yatra started from Nabatpur after 6 hours of fasting and a series of dialogue regarding non-violence, climate crisis and SDGs. These dialogues took place in the nearby 2 blocks. Maji ji, a Dalit leader, welcomed Rajaji and Priyadarshini ji. Finally, the yatra was flagged off by Rajgopal and walked for 16 kilometers to reach Khajuri. In Chhattisgarh, Pandaripani, the Padyatra for Justice and Peace from Har Har Pani village of Raigad district reached its afternoon halt in Padripani village. The yatra received a grand welcome from Gaita Ramchandra Komra, Patel Nandan Korma of the village and Jethibai Mahadevi, president of the women's group organizations Chandani. In Seoni, Madhya Pradesh, the yatra from Seoni district was flagged off by Santosh Singh, a senior member of Ekta Parishad, and the former MLA Mr. Veni ji. Many senior members of like Kailash Uike, Sukhram Dhuven, along with various village heads participated in this yatra. In Umaria, Madhya Pradesh, this Padyatra started from Umaria district of Madhya Pradesh. In this foot march, around 60 people participated who are determined to stand up and walk together towards a peaceful and just society. During these yatras, many signature campaigns were concluded and conducted for the establishment of a peace ministry in India. Overall, the purpose of this foot march is to influence the government of India as well as the United Nations and the governments of other countries about the systems based on justice, peace, and non-violence. So that brings me to the reporting on the marches in India. And now I request my dear friend Monica to please come on board. What you see on the screen are a glimpse of what has happened throughout the day. Thank you very much, friend. Monica, welcome.
Many thanks, Gary, for the highlights and the updates. It's good to see a lot of people already on the move and getting ready to walk for 12 days. Great. So now we also we will share. We had a few other actions to prepare these 12 days. On the 18th, there was organized the meal, which is an action organized since 1999 in different countries. And first in Geneva, but also there were other actions in Nepal and in other countries, and we are still waiting to receive some of the incredible pictures on those amazing things. But Jill, would you like to share how it was your experience sitting in the meal in Geneva?
Sure. Thank you, Monica. So the meal happens every year as a way to bring people together around food, but also to think of those people who don't have any meals. And what normally happens is that the center of the meal occurs in Geneva. This year it happened in a park called Parc des Avaux. And simultaneously, there were 30 other meals in 9 African countries that happened, where people got together and had a meal and sent their photos to Geneva. Geneva sent their photos to these various African countries. There was also a meal in Kathmandu in Nepal and a meal in Katni, Madhya Pradesh. So this sharing of food was a promotion of the 12 days of action, showing how important it is metaphorically for people to come together. And leading that action is Michelle Bowman, a human rights advocate in Geneva. So we want to thank all our friends for the work they did, for making a meal for so many, and for giving some attention to the 12 days of action. Thank you, Monica. Over to you.
Thank you, Gil. Yeah, and also as part of the preparation actions, we had on the 19th, last Sunday, an amazing webinar on youth and climate called Before It's Too Late. Let us young people talk us about the COP26. And it was amazing to see many people, many young activists from different regions and different countries. We have some people from North America, from Europe, from Africa, from Latin America, exchanging their points of view about this COP26 and how they are already planning some of their actions to move forward to the COP, but also the experiences and the grassroots initiatives they are already doing to face the climate crisis in their own countries. So we will share a little piece of this amazing discussion. And also we had the great opportunity to have Pushpanath with us, who is marching from 2nd of October from London to Glasgow also, trying to encourage people to get involved in these climate issues and to develop different also initiatives in their own communities. So it was a webinar with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, and I think youth get very encouraged and inspired to came together again on a second discussion on the 1st of October, and they will try to create a joint message for the COP26 as part of this Nonviolent Economy Jagat campaign. So Jay, can we please maybe play a piece of the webinar?
And transition within the U.S. a lot of our impact and also our progress on climate change, but it hasn't over the years been as fast as we wanted it to, especially in the movement versus what governments or corporations have been doing. And one of the things that we see right now is the effects of climate change that has been happening in the whole world. That's been happening in the U.S. as well, but we've been seeing just throughout this year a whole bunch of large amounts of natural disaster that's happened within the U.S. So just only a few weeks ago, others may have heard of where a hurricane hit Glasgow.
And this is just I'm trying to give a macro example to kind of associate the macro action that we are looking at. But it is these challenges that we are trying to take forward with us and that we have experienced, that we've suffered. There have been landslides happening in the north of India, in Uttarakhand. There are cars falling, again, over construction. The mountain has been cut very badly because of all the overdevelopment in the area. In Northeast, there's been a lot of deforestation that's been happening in India. And there have been massive floods. I think 100,000 plus people have been affected. I think it was 86,000 last week in Assam, just one of the states. And it's kind of gone up way ahead of that because of the
develop, hopefully, throughout events that will take place after. For example, the European Summer University of Frankfurt in 2022, which could be another step in consolidating a movement for climate justice. Also, this one is particularly important because, as has been said before, the effects of climate change are now felt very much in many countries, and now this is not something that is abstract and that is like somewhere off in the distance for many people. The results we are on, well, I was going to say only, but this is already a lot. But we've already got 1.2 degrees rise in temperature globally, and we are already starting to feel the effects. More precisely, are the
kind of issues we are facing in our community is actually because of the indiscriminate stone extraction and also deforestation. The water bodies are drying up, and so indigenous people who are living in remote areas, especially in the hilly areas, they are facing a lot of drinking water crisis. They have to walk miles to collect their drinking water, and also this deforestation is causing a huge impact in their lifestyle because they are living with nature and in the natural habitat. So they are
ecologically harmful green revolution agricultural practices, which produce very high level yields in the short term and massive inputs of water and energy. But water is scarce because of climate change and energy that in the short term will come from fossil fuels. And we're not even shifting that despite having a very, very, very high potential for alternatives to thermal and coal.
So we have a lot of violence in response of these movements. So also we think that the way how the responses of the climate change are made in these spaces, like the COPs and everything, well, they are not really bringing the life and the situation of the indigenous communities in the conversation. Instead of that, they are in those spaces. They agree to make a way to continue with this same system of depredation and this economic system that is making money for our resource. So, for example, in my community, in my region, we are facing like this invasion of wind energy projects that are grabbing our territory and our land. So this is the kind of answers that the economic system is giving to the climate crisis.
The direction of where the money from the global bank like WWF will go. For the moment, they will go to the government, and after the government give the money at other organizations on the country. So they decide to give this money at more local communities and more local activists who are really acting in the country. And they also add the motion to give more power and more to make more discussion with the autochthone, the indigenous community to create policies for ecological, environmental policy.
Self-belief and strength. And so I went and met Rajaji and then took his blessing, honestly. And then I walked 500 kilometers. Every night I went to the radio and spoke to about 1 million people. And I started to become like a god man. I walk, with my hair down, I walk very fast. When you walk fast, meaning I communicate a sense of urgency. So I walked right from the top of the hill, about 7,000 feet down. And then in each of the COP time, I walked, the first was Copenhagen, then I walked the Durban, then I walked the Paris COP. Now with the fourth, this is my home, Britain, this little beautiful island. And there's a lot of change going on. And look, just now I heard Camino, I know them. They're already walking. So I have got my network of belonging across all over the world. As I'm talking to you, there is, and my title for my walk is Go, Push, Go. Go is push, push is go. That's my name.
Thank you very much, Monica. So that was a glimpse from the discussion we had on the 19th of September. Request you to please take the program over. Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah, so this was the great webinar, and as I was telling you, there will be a next meeting on October 1st at 6 p.m. Central European time. So you can also follow up this on the jagatinternational.org website or our Facebook. We will keep you updated on this, so you can also be part of this demands and joint message towards COP26. Thank you. Okay, so going back to the preparation actions, we also had on the 18th in Essen, Germany, at the Institute for Peace, Work and Nonviolent Conflict Resolution, a great peace workshop with introduction of Jagat. We have our Jagat friends there who speak on the 12 days campaign, but also the workshop was related to a new policy initiative for civil security called Rethinking Security. So it's great on this piece day also to see how we still need a lot of things to do under the security, more in terms of peace and justice, and not only about security in terms of more arms, right, to get more security. So great for our German friends. And going back to this day, in South Asia, people already have a few other actions. In Nepal, it was held a fasting also for peace with a discussion and also with a yoga program. So we hope to get some other photos and video clips that we can show maybe tomorrow. And also as part of the ANGOC network, South Asia network, they are holding a 12 days program also of different webinars in different issues such as land, peace, food security, justice, and so forth. So today they celebrate a webinar on student movements in the Philippines during the martial law. So we will also play a piece of it to see how it was a discussion, and I think it's, if you can also watch it on our Jagat 2020 Facebook page, if you can watch it the whole of it, because I think it's very important to get to know and learn from these experiences in different parts of the world. So Jay, could you help us?
Yes, thank you, Edgar, for your instructive introduction, and also familiar faces that I see in this webinar. So may I ask for a share screen to maybe use also the PowerPoint presentation? As 1972 to 1986. So it is during that period that many of us really started also our college days and went on to becoming maybe professionals or clergy. But it was, as some would say, that was the generation that was also lost under martial law. So what was the background to the martial law days? First, there was agrarian unrest, again, as already briefly summarized by Edgar. Many landless workers, landless peasants were aspiring for land reform. And it was during that time that NASA was formed for the Catholic Church, the National Secretariat for Social Action, where every diocese was supposed to have a social action center. And this was galvanized in 1967 by the National Rural Congress, also sponsored by the Catholic Church at that time. The theme was really go back to the barrios, or it's an English term. Many of the almost 11 it was like called Masagana 99. Then President Aquino was
freewheeling discussion.
What are your thoughts on the wave of misinformation that has been continuing, especially among the youth of today who were not alive during the Marcos years? And how do you suggest to combat that?
Okay, I'll ask Archbishop first.
Yes, I know. I find that also a big challenge because when I talk to our seminarians today, I realized they were all born after the People Power Revolution. And therefore, they do not have concrete memories of this period of martial law. But on the other hand, I think this is also really, it should be part of our curriculum to bring the history of martial law always before the eyes of our students. Also to come out now with more visual aids, documentaries. I understand that Ateneo de Manila is coming out with a museum on martial law. Actually, there's already an existing physical museum near UP, but maybe this one can be more online or accessible through the internet. And that is one way also to share with the young people who are savvy in using the internet to also access information on martial law.
Corruption was of a different kind. He was not stealing directly from government, but he was getting money from his cronies in exchange for certain transactions. But certainly his corruption pales in comparison with GMA, Duterte, and Ferdinand Marcos. One good thing I can say about Marcos, despite martial law, is that he stood his ground in the South China Sea. He protected our presence in what is now what we call now the West Philippine Sea. So our exclusive economic zone was protected by creating the Kalayaan Island Group and making Kalayaan a municipality of Palawan. Unlike GMA and Mr. Duterte, who both tend to follow the lead of China rather than stand up for our own rights. So parang when you go back even to GMA's time, we lost certain areas in what we call now the West Philippine Sea because of her special relationship with China. So when to go to the other question, it's going to be a very difficult election because those that are running are all saying that they are all expressing criticism of the incumbent. In other words, you might have a situation where there will be two on one side, Bongbong Marcos and possibly Sara Duterte, if she changes her mind, and people are saying that it's a matter of time before she changes her mind.
So friends, that was a sample from the program at Philippines.
Yes, many thanks. And yeah, I think it's a very important theme. And tomorrow they will have on the next 11 days left also different webinars at 1:30 p.m. in Indian time. So you can also watch the live streaming in our Facebook page. And tomorrow it will be on community actions on sustainable natural resource management. So also don't miss it. We have a lot to learn from the South Asia experiences. Thank you, Jay. Okay, so I think this is so far what we have get from the different countries until now. As you remember, there are some other actions, coming actions for on this day, but that are still like on the move and that will happen, maybe will happening now. And we will talk about it later after a 5 minutes break, musical break. So yeah, you will share a brief video clip. A musical video clip before going to the coming actions of this day.
गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े, बड़ बड़ सिपाही बंदूक से लड़े, बड़ बड़ सिपाही बंदूक से लड़े, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े। नीमक बनाया हो, समुंदर से नीमक बनाया। गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े। आजादी ला गांधी गावे गावे घूमे, आजादी ला गांधी घरे घरे घूमे। कस्तूरबा दीदी, कस्तूरबा दीदी संगे संगे चाले हो, कस्तूरबा दीदी डुगुर डुगुर डोले। गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े। बड़ बड़ व्यापारी कारखाना चलावे, बड़ बड़ व्यापारी कारखाना चलावे। गांधी बाबा, गांधी बाबा चरखा चलाए हो, गांधी बाबा चरखा चलाए। गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े। बड़ बड़ सिपाही बंदूक से लड़े, बड़ बड़ सिपाही बंदूक से लड़े। गांधी बाबा कानून से लड़े हो, गांधी बाबा चरखा चलाए। जय जगत 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 जय
Great song. Thanks, Jay, for sharing this. So we are moving to just to announce the coming actions of today. Please, if you could, Gary, help me sharing the PPT with the posters. So we are still missing the meditation in Geneva. It's a meditation for peace around the statue of Gandhi in Ariana Park. It is happening like in maybe 20 minutes. So maybe if you run, you can you can be there. They celebrate every year around this statue, also on the 2nd of October. So it's like a very important place where people come together and meditate and pray and for peace and justice around the world. So good luck to our friends over there. Also, there is a North American Relay Fast for Peace and Justice that I'm glad to have. I think Riva is here with us. Maybe if she would like to share a little bit on this instead of us. I think you are starting the Relay Fast today also. Are you with us, Riva? Would you like to share it or?
There we are.
Welcome.
Give me just a second. I wasn't quite ready for this.
Sorry,
And
I
it's
just
very
thought, you know what? I just thought that it might be better if you could talk about it instead of me as you're.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much, Monica. And thank you, everybody. This is just so exciting. It's always very exciting on September 21st. What we started last year in imitation of the fast that was going, the relay fast that had started in India for 120 days, was our 12-day relay fast in North America. And last year we had just a general theme of fasting for peace and justice. And this year, we've asked people to think particularly about Indigenous justice for Indigenous peoples, environmental justice, and nonviolent economy. Each of the people who are fasting are such committed activists and peace workers. There are some people who have actually, I haven't put onto this poster yet, but I will update the poster, who have just confirmed that they will be fasting. And today there are at least 4 of us fasting as part of the global fast. And we do this in part because we want to demonstrate that activism takes many forms. And one of the forms of activism, as Rajaji talked about in today's day of fasting, is to go within yourself, to cleanse yourself so that you can participate in ways that are pure and without the hate, the animosity that seems to pervade many of the demonstrations, even demonstrations for peace and justice in North America. And so we're trying to get to a place of peace. Each day we'll share each of the people who are fasting have a very particular part of the bigger theme that they're fasting for. And so each day we will share their statement. And hopefully I will have recordings with people to talk about their experience of fasting and why they have chosen to fast. So we look forward to participating with everybody as we go along in the next 12 days. Thanks so much, Monica.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Riva. And we also will be waiting for those video clips so we can also share them. And I think it's very inspiring to see a lot of people in different places fasting for their different own causes. And so as we in Mexico, this is an invitation to fast for peace, but also for our missing people. As today I am also fasting, and we are also inviting people to do the fast for our missing people in Mexico. As we have more than 80,000 people who are missed. And also it's an opportunity for people to share a moment of reflection of it, how we have get too far with this violence, and how also we can support the families who are looking for their own children's and in all the country. So we are also joining this fast for peace here, and we hope also to receive different photographs and maybe video clips with solidarity messages to the families who are looking for their people. And of course we will keep sharing all this on the Jagat 2020 Facebook page. Also going to this forum, in Uganda there is also a program of fast. This is held by the organization Help Orphan Children. So also we will keep in contact with them. They will be also doing different actions in these 12 days, and I hope we can get some material that we can also share with you. And then almost to conclude, also in the border of Mexico and US, there will be a nonviolent economy forum by the Assembly of Peoples, Communities and Neighborhoods of the region Tijuana, San Diego, and Mexicali, Calixco, which is, this will be a dialogue organized by representatives of a constructive program called Sowing Peace Territories, emerged by this assembly, and it will be at 5 p.m. also with participation of people in not only from Mexico but also from India and Italy. So yeah, it will be at 5 p.m. Mexican Central Time. And finally, we have an exhibition of virtual arts on textile cartography, work carried out by the women's collective Las Huillas in Putaendo, Chile. That's the poster we see over there. And this is an exhibition that will show the creative process of a community textile canvas created by this group of women from Putaendo from Chile. And this project has born by a group of these people in conjunction with days of contaminant and reflection on the body territory, and how it is linked with also, I mean, the territory as a body, and how it's important to take care of it as the land itself, as the natural resources itself. So yeah, I mean, the main objective of this program is to value the natural elements of land and territory, and with the cultural also elements of Putaendo. So this is what we have for today in this
Thank you very much.
part of the world.
Thank you very much, Monica, for sailing us through the coming events of the 12 days of action. And I guess we have people around the world joining us and expressing their solidarity with what we're doing. Going forward, if I may request dear Jill Carr-Harris to please come in for the final statements of the day. And after Jill, we shall hear Rajaji. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Jill Ben.
Yeah, sorry, I think I've lost my visual. But I just want to say that this has been an incredible, array of different actions and activities. We've heard so many different yatras about so many different marches in India. We've heard about webinars in Philippines, and we've seen pictures from the meditation and fast in Nepal. We've seen the Geneva Statue group that is about to convene a meditation on Gandhi.
Jill Ben, you might have accidentally muted yourself. Can you please unmute? Thank you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Should I, where did I leave off? So, I mean, the many
Jill Ben, you're muted again. Maybe you're accidentally touching the screen.
I don't think so.
I don't think we need your video. We can just, you can just keep the phone flat and keep the phone unmute. Can you unmute yourself, Jill Ben, please?
No way of doing.
You're again muted, Jill Ben.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With just an amazing number of array of activities that we've heard from India, the many yatras from Philippines, from where we've seen webinars on people talking about their own histories. In Nepal with the fast, in Geneva with the meditation and garlanding of the Gandhi statue, in Mexico with a fast for the missing persons that disappeared in 2014, on the Mexico-US border where there's an assembly of people trying to create a Mandela of peace. In Chile with the Putanindo mining for people to come together to see how to stop the mining and preserve the environment for future generations. So these many activities, which are all nonviolent actions, are being done keeping in mind the importance of fasting. And I want to say that the fasting is a nonviolent action as well, as Reva Joshi mentioned with their fast in Canada, that it's a nonviolent action and it's a form of renunciation that helps us to act in our economic relations differently. You know, I think of the degrowth movement in Europe that is a kind of renunciation economy. There is a greater recognition that we should consume what we need, but not in such a way that we take basic consumption away from others. So this nonviolent economy, which has been spelt out throughout this session in terms of different actions and different ways of being in interaction with each other, is just the beginning of the many days ahead, the next 11 days ahead, where we're going to constantly review and see what people are doing. And I want to say that having a global program like this, with so many different countries involved, I forgot our African country that is also involved today, so many different countries involved, and how important it is for us to connect across borders and to strengthen each other's activities in the spirit of building a nonviolent future. So I thank you all for being with us, and look forward to seeing more nonviolent action towards a nonviolent economy in the days ahead. Thank you, and Jai Jagat.
Thank you, Jilben. Thank you very much for this final remarks on the day. May I now request Rajaji to please conclude the session before we get into the musical closing of the program?
Yes. Thank you, Gary, for inviting me to speak. Look, the final word today will be that the more people start understanding and internalizing that a peace based on justice is better than a peace based on force. The more people understand, the culture will change. The culture need to change. Now we believe that force can bring about peace, and moving from there to justice can bring about peace is a jump that people need to make. And that is one very important thing that we should achieve through this long march that we are organizing this time. Similarly, the more people can understand that the present economy is violent, and we need to replace this with a non-violent economy. You know, the more people need to understand this, internalize it, speak about it. And then that is the only way that we can change the economic model that can protect the people and the nature and the kind of climate crisis that we are facing, etc. So learning, appreciating, internalizing, and acting it out, so that we need to protect people and also the nature. So that is the second part. And finally, I believe that no amount of speech making, no amount of conference and seminar is going to change the situation on the ground. So what is needed is also action, and urgent action to change it, because after COVID-19, millions of people are suffering to a level, I mean, that the economy has created so much problem for them. So I think there is also an urgent need for change. So by organizing programs like this, speaking about it, sharing ideas, I'm sure that we will create greater awareness all over the world for a justice based on, a peace based on justice, and also an economy that's non-violent. Thank you very much, Gary and friends, for organizing this great program.
Thank you very much, Rajaji and Jilban, for helping us conclude this program tonight. Friends, before we get into the musical part of the program, I just wanted to share with you a disclaimer that Jai Jagat is a campaign that is working towards international global justice and peace. And since we are working with so many organizations, so many individuals, each of those organizations and each of those individuals may have their own set of thoughts. So Jai Jagat does not importantly endorse all the thoughts of the participants that are participating in these campaign. Our thoughts are aligned with the process where we are talking about justice and peace only. Thank you very much, and over to you, Monica, to call it a day.
Thank you. Well, this is, I think, everything for today's program. We see you tomorrow at the same time. So you can also get the updates of the day. And Jai Jagat to everyone. Don't forget to send us your pictures of your actions to Jai Jagat International Gmail account. And so we can also share it with you during these days. Thank you very much. Jai Jagat, everyone.
Jai Jagat, Jai Jagat. Thank you, Monica.
Jai Jagat, Jai Jagat.
All right, we have one more song for you here. Thanks again for including us. I know my friend out there, Jill Harris, was the one that got us involved, so admiration to you, Jill, for doing the work you do. And to everybody at Ekta Parashad, congratulations, and thank you for having us.
Got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jackal. I went out for a ride and I never went back. Just like a river that don't know where it's flown. I took a wrong turn and I just kept going. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart. I met her in a Kingstown bar. We found a love I knew it had to end. We took what we had and we ripped it apart. Now here I am back in Kingstown again. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody needs a place to rest. Oh, everybody needs to have a home. Well, make no difference what nobody says. Oh, ain't nobody like to be alone. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Oh, everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your
Jim Cuddy. See you later.
Okay, so with this, we come to the end of today's update on the 12 days of action. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Our live stream has been stopped, so we can now have our internal discussions.
Okay, let's stop recording too.